So good evening, welcome back to Brian LaRose's Partner Focus here at VMworld 2017. And tonight I'm going to be joined by my good friend Joshua David.
Hey Brian, good to be here.
Good to have you here.
Thank
who
you.
works on the VMware Cloud Foundation team. And Josh, what we're doing in our Partner Focus is we're talking about how the products and services that VMware goes to market with can accelerate our partners' profitability by lowering their barrier, by accelerating their deployments, by adding value to their services, or by just really simply deploying a data center out of the box so their services can come in and layer on top of that.
Right.
So for those listeners who may not be familiar with VMware Cloud Foundation, can you give us a little bit of a sort of a thumbnail sketch on what we're trying to accomplish with the foundation and maybe how the partners can benefit from that?
Absolutely, thanks Brian. So by the way, VMware Cloud Foundation and the three key tenets of VMware Cloud Foundation very much resonates with what you just said in terms of partner profitability. And also in terms of, when you look at from a partner profitability aspect, there are a couple of things that kind of come into play. The first thing is, I was recently at a partner summit where we had over 30 plus partners who attended for my session, as well as we had a partner summit, a roundtable conference. And a common theme that we hear from them is about standardization. So what it delivers from VMware Cloud Foundation is that the first thing it delivers is it's about standardized architecture. It provides standardized architecture. So what we get as a result of standardized architecture is that you have a repeatable process, right? As a result of having a repeatable architecture that can be deployed, it really helps in not only just in terms of acceleration, in terms of time to value, but also in terms of de-risking a lot of the known issues that you may encounter otherwise. And the first thing, as a result of having a standardized architecture, it also helps with the configuration of this. Because a lot of times kind of goes into in terms of configuring, it could take in order to stand up a software-defined data center several weeks, sometimes even months. But Cloud Foundation truly has this inherent capability that brings to bear in terms of having a validated, standardized architecture from VMware. Now, the second thing is it's an integrated solution. And what we mean by integrated solution is that you bring the best of breed in terms of our best compute virtualization, our storage virtualization, our network virtualization into one integrated stack, along with the SDDC manager, which really is the brains behind in terms of automation and configuration.
Right.
And so as a result of having this, being able to automate all the way from beginning, from installation to being able to stand up an environment and a vSphere cluster where you can run an application workload, it tremendously accelerates the time to market for partners or customers who want to run applications to be deployed in a real quick manner. Now the third thing is about something that Chika and I alluded to, is a pain point which I heard constantly and consistently from our partners, as well as likewise even from our customers. It's about, okay, now we have installed it, now we have configured it, it's up and running, but who's going to be managing not only just the day zero, but also from the day one and day two operations?
Exactly.
And VMware Cloud Foundation provides a SDDC manager, which helps in the lifecycle management of the core infrastructure. Meaning what we mean by that, because lifecycle management can mean different things to different folks, but we help in terms of automation, configuration, installation, but also patching and upgrading.
What I've been hearing from our partners is that our VMware management plane has not really been mission critical up until now. And so now what we're seeing with VCF 2.2 is a recognition of the VMware value in our partners and in their installations in their data centers.
Right. That
this is a critical component that must be up and it must be running. So critical piece of that is DR. High availability, backup and recovery, and the lifecycle management. This particular, maybe we go from 2.2 to 3.3 or 2.2 to 3.0.
Right.
So there has to be a repeatable, proven, tested methodology for upgrading an infrastructure in place. Right. And so talk about that upgrade in place of the lifecycle manager and what our partners are going to see from that, the removal of that pain point that you talked about.
Right, absolutely. So when you look at from an upgrade and patching standpoint, if you take your, almost 100% of the folks have a phone, right? Either an iPhone or a Samsung or anything. So when you look at your iPhone, what happens is the first thing is there's a patch that's available. there's a manifest that's out there that says, Apple says, okay, you have to upgrade from 10.2 to 10.3, right? And they kind of inform you saying, hey, there's a patch that's available. Then you take action upon in terms of saying, do I want to go ahead and upgrade my current version to this new patch that's available? And you deliberate over that, and then you kind of schedule it, right?
Right.
So the third step is essentially where you say, I want it to be done during this time. So oftentimes you see with iPhones is saying, you just have to plug in your power to your phone, and during nighttime when you're sleeping, it's going to do the upgrade. And then after that, the fourth step is actual upgrade that takes place after the scheduling happens. Right. And so when you look at this, essentially it's the same model that is used in VMware Cloud Foundation with SCDC Manager. The automation has been tremendously, applied all the way across in terms of the life cycle. It is applied even in the upgrade and the patching standpoint.
Wow.
So if there is an immediate patch as a result of a security vulnerability, you would want to go ahead and apply it immediately.
Right.
But you can then schedule based on when it's on demand, it's on your schedule when you want to upgrade a specific workload. We have the concept called workload domains. Essentially, it's a vSphere cluster. So you can pick and choose which workload domain in the Cloud Foundation instance that you want to upgrade. Right. So you can start with your development environment and then stabilize to see whether your applications are running just fine, and then be able to promote it to your test environment and then eventually to your production.
But it moves through all of the VMware products in a very regular fashion. So it'll go through the entire stack in your development environment, right?
Exactly. So that is a real good thing, is that you may have a application, a cloud native application or your traditional IT application that you're running in a workload domain that's dedicated for your development environment, that where you can, without harming any of the user experience, you can test it because it's going to be just your development team that's going to be affected even if there is something happening. Well, then once you see that, then you can gradually promote it, and then eventually you can schedule at what time, what date you want to do the upgrade.
So let's say my developers or our partners' developers go and roll this out, and maybe something bad happens to their development environment. Is there a rollback capability within it?
That's the cool thing, is that you get to roll back to the instance, to the state where you are in. So before an upgrade actually happens, there is, as part of the lifecycle management, there's a repository where it kind of snapshots and where at what point you were trying to upgrade, and you're able to go back to that.
So you can say, well, that didn't work for the amount of developers, let's go back to where we were and we'll try again next week.
Exactly.
That's wonderful, that's wonderful.
Right.
So how can our partners that are out watching tonight get involved with vCloud Foundation if they're wanting to learn more about it, wanting to get a demo, wanting to do a download or documentation on all the components? Where would you recommend they go?
So there is this blog, VMware Cloud Foundation. It's from VMware website. You can easily get access to. You'll be able to go there. And also there's this link where it talks about we have a Twitter handle, VMware CF, and check it out, because there are lots of tremendous announcements that are coming. As you mentioned earlier, VMware Cloud Foundation 2.2 got released yesterday, and we have 6.5 support and 7.1, ESX 6.5 and Horizon 7.1 support made available. And we have a lot of functionality in terms of richness, not just from an application, but also from an integration stack, and also from the automation perspective, what we have been able to render today. And you can always reach out to the partner business manager. If you are working with the VMware partner business manager, please reach out to him or her, and we'll be happy to connect. As Brian mentioned earlier, I'm part of the business unit that develops Cloud Foundation, and we'll be happy to interact with you. A couple of things I just want to takeaways I just want to share with you is identify if there is an account that you immediately think about who is in a journey, who wants to be in the SCDC journey, wants to get to the next level. There are several use cases. If they're going through a hardware refresh, that's a good conversation, a good time for us to have this conversation. Or if they're looking for a new application to be developed in a new environment, there's another good reason for you to have a Cloud Foundation discussion. Or if there's an ELA agreement that's going through and you would want to have a discussion. again, there's another real good reason for you to have a discussion. Or in the AC/DC journey, in terms of where they want to be to truly have the next level of having a hybridity for not only being able to run their applications in the private cloud, but also to be able to move, transport, and be able to have their applications ported to the public cloud. We have, as a result of the underlying infrastructure being VMware Cloud Foundation, both on-prem as well as in the public cloud, you can certainly do have position Cloud Foundation as a really good solution.
And you may not know it out there, but Josh actually came out of our CISO organization, so he has a lot of expertise in working with our system integrators and system outsourcers. So from the CISO perspective and your background, as you think back in your history with CISOs, they want to focus on business value to the end customer. They don't want to get their feet, if you will, tangled up in the deployment of data centers.
Right.
So would you agree that VCF is clearly directed, targeted, if you will, at these CISOs that want to flip a switch, have the data center come up, and then begin the rest of the business consulting value that they deliver to their customers?
That's a really good point, and I just want to quickly point out to, especially from the CISOs as well as the channel providers, this resellers, this is very much applicable, which is not only are you able to drive from a TCO standpoint and a time to market standpoint in a much rapid pace, also you have a unique opportunity of being able to add the value add services. It could be, you may have a network practice that you're developing, because there's so much in terms of microsegmentation. NSX and vSAN being part of Cloud Foundation allows you to be able to drag 3.5x in terms of services drag. So there is a really good price point in terms of profitability for partners that they can look at.
3.5x.
3.5x.
That's incredible.
The second thing also that you can look at in terms of, as a result of having value-added services, is around maybe service assurance capabilities, being able to have integration with some of their help desk systems, or it could be in terms of monitoring, additional third-party monitoring capabilities that you want to,
right.
And in essence, be able to complement on top of what VMware Cloud Foundation today provides.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of opportunity in terms of services that you can be able to tack on and be able to sell to your Cloud Foundation, to the account. The reason being that you become a trusted advisor. And there was this one person today in the VMware Cloud Foundation Partner Summit, as I was leading the partner panel discussions, there's this person I was asking about, as a result of you being the trusted advisor, there's a stickiness that creates as a result of you, being able to provide the level of information that they're looking for, even ahead of time, before they even ask, you can give them the information. And he said, it's so valuable for us to have this discussion and be able to add new services, thinking ahead of time.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up here tonight, the message for you CISOs out there is, if you're not considering the Cloud Foundation in your engagements and in your infrastructure and your forward-looking go-to-market solutions, you really should be. All the values that we've talked about tonight can be there. It's straightforward out of the box. It's very, very well tested, very well supported. It's really the direction that we're taking the company, and we really want to move the partner organization into rapid adoption of VCF as quickly as you can possibly do it. So reach out to your partner executive, reach out to your client director. I'll be happy to support them, and I'll obviously bring in the business unit to support those opportunities as well. And so thank you for coming out tonight, Josh. Really enjoyed our conversation.
Absolutely, Brian. Thank you. Looking forward to working with you more closely.
Very good.
Thank you.